How's it going, everybody? Hope you're having a great day, a great night. I would assume because you're hanging out with JBM Sports Media. We got Ben, we got Joe, we got Mike, myself. We have a few things to cover. We have some qualifying offers that were accepted. One I personally think is hilarious, and the other three are, I think, decent to talk about. So I don't know, guys. Where do you want to start first?
Let's start off with the pitchers, and I think obviously the one that I want to talk about, I won't start off with my guy. I'll talk about another one in the division that is Shota Imanaga accepting the qualifying offer, which honestly I didn't see this one coming, if I could be honest.
No.
I really didn't. I really thought he was going to test the market, but no, he's returning to the Cubs. He accepts the qualifying offer. I'll throw to JV first. What do you think about this, JV, right off the bat?
I was a little shocked that his market wasn't as strong as I thought it would be. I thought this was actually one of the guys that would have had the strongest market. And I only see this going one of two ways. One, maybe he actually gets traded in the middle of the season if the Cubs aren't doing well, because I don't think he's actually going to re-sign with the Cubs next year. And that would be my next point would be I think this is just the beginning of the end. I don't think he actually finishes his career as a Cub. I think he's going to wind up going elsewhere. So this to me is just a 1 year extension. But I could see for some reason if the Cubs aren't in contention, they could actually trade him.
I mean, that's interesting. I'll be honest, I didn't have this on my bingo card either. I don't know if you guys watched it already or if you didn't. I don't know if I want to spoil it or not. I did not have Shota returning to Chicago. I had him elsewhere. I thought it would have been a nice fit along with some other moves. I'm not going to give you the team. You're going to have to go watch the video for that one. But listen, I liked him on the market. I thought he would have did fairly well. He might have got a little more than the deal he opted out of. So he opted out of a 3-year deal to take a 1-year qualifying offer. A little. I don't know if Chicago expected this. I think they were trying to get a draft pick, and maybe it backfired. But I was shocked by this. I don't think overall for the Cubs this is necessarily a bad thing. I mean, Shota's a solid guy. I think he's a solid pitcher. He had a bit of a rough season in 2025, but if he can emulate what he did in 2024, he's flirting with the idea of maybe being a 1A or a 1B in a rotation. And I think the Cubs desperately need that. So, I mean, I don't hate this move for them. I'm just a little confused for him, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's completely understandable. I think the Cubs did not want him to accept this, if I could be honest. I think that the way that they kind of operate, I think the relationship was kind of over for them. I thought they was for sure hoping he would test the market, but it looks like he, by accepting this, like JV said, I think that's a very interesting point. Obviously, I don't think they're going to get Tucker back with the Cubs. So if they are competing and not really the best, let's say they're below 500 at the trade deadline or anything like that, could this be a piece they move? Absolutely, it could be a piece they move. Get some prospects back in return. I think that's a great point that JV made. To be honest,
Yeah, I just don't see it as something that's long term. And like I said, if the Brewers are running away with that division again, and like you said, Tucker isn't a Cub, that team doesn't look really great on paper to begin with. Their rotation outside of Imanaga wasn't that great as well. So if they're 11 or 12 games out in July, I could see him maybe getting dealt to a contender.
yeah. Any last thoughts on Shota accepting the qualifying offer, Mike, or no?
No, I'm a little shocked on his end. I'll be honest. I really am.
Same. I absolutely agree. One that actually makes me very happy. I'm extremely excited about this one. I know the Brewers aren't necessarily knowing how cheap they are. Brandon Woodruff accepts the qualifying offer and is returning back to the Brewers. I saw this coming. I said it in our predictions video. Spoiler alert. I said he was going to accept the qualifying offer. I didn't see a way he wasn't going to because he had another season that ended because of injury. Like he wasn't going to get what he was going to get or what he wanted to get in free agency by testing the market. It wasn't going to be realistic. Uh, I love that he's staying with the Brewers more so. Clubhouse energy. I think this is an amazing thing. This actually makes me think, and I think it's a great point. Obviously, with him, Freddie Peralta's $8 million coming up this year. I don't believe they're trading Freddie Peralta now. I'm literally, I could put the stamp on it. I don't think they're doing it. I don't see them doing it at all. When you look at the Brewers rotation going into next year, I'll give you guys a little preview. Woodruff, Peralta, Mizorowski, Patrick, and then Priester. Come on, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. JV, go ahead. Let me know your thoughts about this.
Listen, I know we've off air we've talked about what the future for Freddie Peralta holds, and I said that I think Milwaukee, the one thing that they pride themselves on is not only fundamentals but pitching. I think pitching is something that they've always really prided themselves on, and I just never saw them trading a guy like Peralta. I thought that would be a Brewer for life. I think that they, could possibly extend him, and just them offering this to Woodruff just means that they're trying to get the band back together and hopefully get another healthy season, out of Woodruff, and maybe this means a possible long-term deal after this year if he could stay healthy and prove that he could be consistent and stay on the field. At this point, that's really the only problem with him is just injuries. It hasn't been his talent or performance or anything of the nature. It's just you got to be consistent enough to play, and he hasn't been able to do that because of injury. So, this could be a steal for $22 million, honestly, because it could only mean that they're obviously playing well if Woodruff's pitching well, and that maybe this just means that they're going to just lock him up for the future. So I think it's a good move for both sides, to be honest, that he's coming back.
I'm going to be honest. Out of all four of the guys that accepted, this is the only one that I saw coming. If he would have tested the market, that may have been different. It didn't make sense for him to do it. He was still, he wasn't 100% last year when he came back. Like Bruce said, he ended the season on somewhat of a bad note, obviously going down with another injury. So this one does make sense, but a healthy Brandon Woodruff in that rotation could be a very dangerous thing if he could return to form. I don't know if this necessarily means Brewer for life. I would say I probably doubt it if I had to guess, but time will tell. As far as to Brew's point about maybe they're not going to trade Peralta now, I don't know if this really has anything to do with it. Woodruff to Peralta, because this was expected. I think all three of us kind of saw this coming. This was the more expected one out of everybody, and I think the Brewers are. I don't think it's necessarily what they do determines trading Freddie Peralta. If they get a team that's desperate enough to call them up and say, "Hey, we'll give you X, Y, and Z," and the Brewers like the deal, they're going to do it. Doesn't matter what they put together in their rotation. If they can get formidable pieces for Peralta, I think they do it 100%. I don't see an extension in the future. Again, I could be wrong. I don't see, like, Peralta's a guy, he needs to stay a Brewer. Woodruff is a guy, I don't see him outside of the uniform either, but I don't know if essentially that's what's going to end up happening. I mean, we'll see how he bounces back from obviously a down year. Before we move on to the next one, everybody out there, guys watching, listening, whatever you're doing, guys, please follows, comments, subscribe to everything. We're also on TikTok, JBM Sports Media on TikTok. We also have an Instagram page. Guys, go please follow that. And obviously leave your comments here. What do you think about the two pitchers we spoke about that accepted the qualifying offer at this point? Do you like the move for the player, for the team? Were you shocked by anything, as what we've talked about as of right now?
I think, just to end off the Woodruff conversation, this could be the biggest out of these four, the low risk, high reward. I think this could be the biggest one right here, because if he pitches even somewhat to the 2023 version of himself, bro, this is going to be a bargain, a straight up bargain. I'll be honest. And when it comes to Freddie Peralta, time will tell. Yes, time will tell. But I really am getting the feeling that they want to run it back. And with the rotation, obviously, I know it didn't let us down in the playoffs. If you look at our pitching performances in the playoffs, what let us down was the offense. This is why I think, go out there, go get a bat or two. It doesn't have to be a big bat, but we need power in that lineup, no doubt. I think Woodruff accepting this, like we all said, we saw this coming, and I think now it's a good thing for the Brewers and Brewers fans. Obviously, this guy's been with the organization since 2014, making it 11 years now, about to be 12. this is a guy I want to see for a Brewer for life. I know we talked about that, but yeah, let's move on to one of JV's guys, former guys. How about that? Gleyber Torres, JV, not Trent Grisham. Don't get too excited.
Well, you said former, so I figured we would go on that route.
All right, JV, calm down. All right, so all right, so we have Gleyber Torres. I mentioned this in the last video, guys, the one that we talked about trades, and I was talking about the Tigers and Skubal. I said that Torres, he was looking at, possibly accepting this, and today he did. JV, what do you think about this? Him accepting the qualifying offer and returning to Detroit?
I'm a little shocked. I'm not shocked, but I'm a little shocked. I thought maybe some team would be out there that would have offered maybe a 2-year deal, just to solidify maybe their infield, but it just didn't happen. I think it makes sense for both sides. I think he was a pretty good Tiger. He fits that nucleus pretty well, and I think it's just another year for him to potentially prove himself again, and hopefully luck up maybe a 3-year deal or a 4-year deal in the future for him. So this is another prove it deal kind of for Gleyber, just to show that he is consistent. If he's not, it's really going to affect his free agency market. I'll say that, because if he did get a little taste of what the market was, obviously there was nobody really pulling for his services, but he's going to have a really good year in order to turn some heads and keep the market in his favor. So we'll see how that pans out. Obviously, he's played there before, so he's kind of used to the surroundings and the atmosphere there. So it's just time, another piece that we'll figure out when it comes to his future. So I think it's a good look though for Gleyber, all in all.
I'm gonna agree with that. This one, like you said, it's like kind of shocking, but it isn't. I figured he would have had a little static in his market. I thought there would have been something for him. Maybe a 2-year deal, relatively, obviously, maybe cheaper than the 22 a year, obviously. But still, I think there would have been at least a 2-year deal out there for him. I mean, he was an all-star. I know his second half really wasn't all that great. He definitely went downward compared to his first half that made him an all-star. But you know what? At the end of the day, I do like this fit for Detroit. I thought he enjoyed being there. It seemed like he was having fun being a Tiger. I think it's a decent fit. I don't know if it's a win-win for both sides. I mean, listen, it'll be a win for Detroit if they can milk every ounce of baseball out of Gleyber Torres they can get. And Gleyber Torres, like Jay said, he wants to lock up a long-term deal. And if he felt that maybe his market wasn't as good as he thought it would have been, this was the move to do. Go on another prove-it-year deal in a familiar place, somewhere you just were, where you enjoyed playing. You know the guys, that clubhouse. So I think this could be. He just has to stay consistent. He has to show that all-star form that he was in the first half, and he's got to ride that out for a whole season.
I love this for Detroit. I think the fact that they obviously, I feel like they're going to do more in free agency, getting this bat in return. If he could give you what he did in the first half throughout a whole season, obviously he dealt with the sports hernia. He finally got surgery for that, which is good. You'll have a healthy version of Gleyber next year. Detroit's one of those teams. We saw what they did in the first half, and Gleyber was a big part of that because he was healthy. Do what y'all got to do in free agency, having his bat in return. I think it's good for both sides. I really do believe it is. Real quick, before we get into our next guy, quick moment of silence for JV and his Yankees for what we're about to talk about right here, guys. Unfortunately, Trent Grisham accepted the qualifying offer today and will be returning to the New York Yankees, which is good for some teams not getting robbed blind by Trent Grisham. JV, what do you think about this?
Listen, there's only one thing Trent Grisham has to do. He has to replicate what he did last year. So now the pressure's all on him. So obviously it's almost like it's a lose-lose, because if he doesn't play well, it's going to affect his market next year coming onto as a free agent. And it's going to mean that the Yankees spent $22.5 million and got completely stabbed in the back, for all intents and purposes. Like I said, he's going to have to replicate the exact same year that he had last year. He's going to have to hit 35 home runs. He's going to have to knock in 70-plus RBIs. He's going to have to play the type of defense that he played last year. And that's really hard for someone who's only done that once. It was the first time he's done it in his 7-year career. So he's not consistent in playing that way. So for him to have to do that again to get every dollar worth Trent Grisham is going to be tough. It also means the end is near for Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones. And the reason why I say that is because another full year of Trent Grisham at $22.5 million means that Trent Grisham is going to be playing every day. He's not going to be platooning. He's not going to be coming off the bench. He's not going to hit against righties and not play against lefties. He's going to be playing every day. So there's only one thing that could be done, and that's someone's going to have to get traded. And that to me is Jason Dominguez. I think if the Yankees sign Bellinger or a guy like Kyle Tucker, that just is the writing on the wall. Someone's not going to fit, and obviously it's not going to be Trent Grisham because he's locked in. So it's going to have to be Dominguez or Jones. And I think one of those guys gets flipped by the deadline, depending on who they sign. I don't think it really matters who they sign. They could get Bellinger, and I think Dominguez is going to be the odd man out. And then I think from there, you'll see a guy like Spencer Jones get traded. So to me, it's not a good offer. I don't think the Yankees should have made this offer. I think they should have went into the season saying Jason Dominguez is going to be a part of the outfield, and then they could have tinkered from there. Like I said, re-signing Bellinger or going after Tucker. This is not a good move. Like I said, unless Trent Grisham has the exact same regular season that he did in 2025, this is not a good move.
Well, I did say one of these were going to be hilarious, and this is the one. I mean, if you guys haven't noticed, you guys have eyes. You see on screen, Brew is holding back a stroke from laughing so much at this. All right, I don't mean to be mean. Here's the reality, in my opinion. I think the Yankees tried to sneak a draft pick out of this situation, and it backfired.
Absolutely.
Honestly,
Absolutely.
I don't think they actually wanted Trent Grisham back. But they also said, hey, he might accept this. Are we okay with that? Somebody signed off on it. Worst case scenario, Trent Grisham does accept the qualifying offer. Are we good with this? So somebody signed off on it. I don't know if it necessarily means that Dominguez is necessarily out the door just yet. This could be an insurance policy just in case Cody Bellinger does not sign, or if they really can't find anybody to play first base, Cody goes to first, Trent goes back into the outfield, obviously, and you still get Dominguez in there. As far as Spencer Jones goes, I don't personally think he's ready to be coming up. We'll see what happens in spring training, but I don't think he's there yet. That could be a mid-season, a late-season call-up for him. His strikeout rate is just too high. When he hit AAA, he was lighting the world on fire, and then he came back down to reality. So I don't know if he's there yet, Spencer Jones. He could be dealt. He's obviously one of probably the best trade chip that the Yankees are probably more willing to part with would be him. Dominguez, I don't understand why they're giving up on this kid. I don't. To me, you did a disservice. This is the outfield version of Jabba Chamberlain, where you're gonna not do what he's best at, and that would be put him in center field. That's the position he knows. You stick this kid out in left. He's had a horrible time. He's improved a little, and I don't know. I feel like you're not doing the right thing by him, and then you're gonna move on. I mean, this kid was the Martian. I mean, his rookie cards were going for hundreds of dollars when they first came out. Base rookie cards when he was, 16? So I don't understand what happened in that dynamic. Something must be wrong in that clubhouse, or he has a bad relationship with somebody that they're just willing to part with this kid. I mean, what did he have in the final series of the year? He had one at-bat in the last game, and he ripped a double.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Something's up in my opinion. But I think more so the Yankees probably looked at the situation and says, you know what? If he does accept it, at least we have an insurance policy in case all else fails.
Yeah. Other than the Yankees, what other team is upset at this? The Angels. They're pretty upset. They wanted Trent Grisham pretty bad. Look, bro, I'll tell you this straight up. I think when I saw this, that he accepted this, I immediately thought about JV because first and foremost, I don't believe Tucker's a thing for them anymore with this, if I could be quite honest. When it comes to Dominguez, I don't think they're trading him. Not yet. I feel like it'll be a disservice if they trade him, to be honest with you, because I don't feel like he's truly unlocked. Like Mike said, his full potential hasn't been seen yet. I mean, keep in mind, in the playoffs, he only got one at-bat. And what happened in that at-bat? He doubled. Think about that, bro. I mean, I think it would be a complete disservice if they trade Dominguez, in my opinion. Jones, I know we talked about Jones. he's not ready. Not yet. We'll see what he does in spring training, but maybe he doesn't even get to be a part of the Yankees spring training. Maybe he does get traded. Could that be a thing? Do they trust him? Do they trust that his strikeout percentage will go down? I don't know. I think that's going to be an interesting thing to develop during the offseason. Winter meetings, they didn't want Trent Grisham to come back. Let's be 100% honest. They wanted to steal a draft pick. Guess what? He said, nah, I'm not testing the market. I'm not doing that. I'm accepting this qualifying offer, and I'm robbing you blind. And guess what? He did. He did. Look at JV, guys. Chat. Take a moment. Look at JV's face right now. This is a lot of Yankees fans. If you guys seen that Yankees fan on WFAN, oh my gosh, during the radio.
Yeah, but I will say this though: for people out there that think that this is going to define their offseason, you don't know baseball, and maybe take a breather and take a seat, because it's one move, and it's not the end of the world. It's not a good move, I will say that, because I didn't want him back either. But it's not going to define the entirety of the offseason. It's a very long offseason. Winter meetings haven't even started yet. You know, they could fix what they have to fix if they do everything else right. But this obviously, I would have liked to see the opposite happen, obviously.
Now, chat, for everybody that saw what JV just said, clip this, and whatever they do the rest of the offseason, we'll come back to this moment right here in time. Exactly, to Trent Grisham accepting the qualifying offer. JV could be 100% right. They could go, hey, let's get a bullpen depth. Let's trade for, another piece, whatever it may be. They might have a successful offseason. But this is something that was a miscalculated move, and nobody could tell me otherwise. Truly.
Absolutely. It absolutely was.
And I'll throw this question out to you, JB. What are the chances now that they get Tucker? Let's be honest.
Well, the only way they get Tucker is if they lose out on Bellinger, or if they don't even want to go for Bellinger because they think that Tucker is the better player. I'm not sure what their thought process will be, but if they want to go for the long-term guy, then the long-term guy would be Tucker, because he'll want extra years. I'd say about 4 more years more than what Bellinger's looking for. So if they want to go that route, they could go that route. But I see Bellinger being obviously is the more reasonable fit due to the fact that he'll probably get about $11 to $12 million less than what Tucker is looking for. I think, to me, $30 million wraps up Bellinger. I think 5 for 150 or 6 for 180 should wrap up Cody Bellinger. And obviously Tucker's looking for 10, anywhere between 400 to 450 million. So obviously they'd save money, but if they wanted to go the long-term better baseball player, it would be Tucker. But yeah, I think it's Bellinger at this point. That's who they're looking to go for.
I'll ask Mike the question. What are the chances after this they sign Tucker? Let's be honest.
Grisham or no Grisham, I don't think they were getting Tucker regardless. I'll be honest.
You think it was Raps regardless?
I don't think they had a shot at him. I don't think they were going to come anywhere near the ballpark of what he wanted. I just didn't see it. I'm sorry. You're talking a $150 million contract to a $400 million contract. I don't know if were they really willing to wrap themselves up into more money long term. That long, that length, I personally don't see it. I didn't see it from the beginning. The other thing is Kyle Tucker's a right fielder. The Yankees have a right fielder. Do you really want to risk Aaron Judge in center field? I'm not going to make fun of the drop because that's ridiculous at this point. The reality is, though, he's an aging superstar. You don't want him in center field. You don't. You're going to open him up to more injuries, and I think that's just you're asking for a disaster by putting Judge back in center field. Not that he's not capable, but, again, he's an aging superstar. We want to move him away from those positions, to be honest. I don't want to spend too much on the Kyle Tucker thing, but I just genuinely never saw a world where Kyle Tucker wearing pinstripes and playing in the Bronx. I just honestly, I really never saw it. But everybody out there listening, watching, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What did you guys think out of the 4 players that accepted their qualifying offers today? We want to ask, what was the most shocking to you? Also, which out of the 4 do you think is going to have the biggest impact? And out of any of these 4 players, did you want any of them on your team? Are you upset now that these 4 guys are not on the market anymore, and now that maybe thinned out the market just a little bit at certain positions? But I don't know. We want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, nobody's upset that Trent Grisham is not on their team. I'll tell you that right now. No, not
Well,
trying
you
to
said
say.
the Angels were.
Well, that's just Artie Moreno, guys. You know how that guy rolls. But hey, at the end of the day, like JV said,
I
this
hope now he hits. Now I hope he hits 35 home runs again.
I'll start praying again, brother, because it's gonna be a long
I
year.
know. It's the only thing he can do to make this better. That's literally it.
Realistically speaking, I know I've trolled Trent Grisham, but go get your money. At the end of the day, that's what life's about. Get your money, bro. Same thing with Woodruff. Same thing with Shota. Same thing with Glaber. They got their money. Obviously, if they pan out and have good seasons, they're obviously looking for a longer term deal. It's gonna be interesting with the lockout and everything like that. So that's looming, but that's just something to keep an eye on. But let us know what you guys think. As always, make sure to subscribe to JBM Sports Media here on YouTube. Go follow us on TikTok, IG. Like I said, like the video as well. JB, you got anything to say before we wrap it up?
No, I'm good to go. Can't wait to see what free agency, the rest of the free
Absolutely.
agency does, because now it should be getting a little bit more warmer now that the qualifying deadline is over with. So we should start seeing some names drop pretty soon.
I mean, yeah, we already had Naylor, technically, right? We already had Naylor with the 5-year, $92.5 million deal. So,
yes.
Hey, it's getting warmer. It's getting warmer.
Starting to heat up. Definitely starting to heat up. Guys, if I can, as always, we do appreciate you guys watching us, subscribing to us, liking our videos, liking our TikToks, liking our Instagram posts, everything that we do. We fully appreciate it. We also want to note, listen, we're not the only media group out there that does this. You know, there's hundreds and hundreds of us alike. So we do appreciate that you chose us and chose to hang out with us. I don't know. Maybe you like our logo. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Who knows what it is? But in reality, again, we really do appreciate you guys hanging out with us.